A viral event had just taken place not too long ago, a few days ago, really, where Charlie Kirk, a public figure who was constantly arguing his personal beliefs as well as political beliefs online, on college campuses, and on online platforms as well. And he is now gone. And that's the sad reality of it. Charlie Kirk was assassinated by a young man while he was in Utah. And now he will no longer be able to return to his family because this young man that took him out couldn't control his own emotions and couldn't handle the opinions of someone else. And I believe they just arrested or taken into custody this young man, who I believe is 22 years old and goes by Robinson.
The suspect ran behind that upper down to the ground. As he did that, he left some palm impressions. There's some smudges, some places we're looking to collect DNA. There's a shoe imprint where information. Here you see the suspect after dropping off the building. He moved around across this grass area, around the parking lot. We're going to pan to the right. So here's the still photographs I mentioned. These have been enhanced. So these are slightly different than what we introduced earlier. There's a better picture of the hat with that triangle logo, and again the t-shirt, blue jeans, and you get a good look at those Converse tennis shoes as well.
This guy Robinson was taken into custody after the information about the assassination was presented to his father, and he recognized that that was his son that took out Charlie Kirk. And he called for a prime minister or a pastor, one of the two. And that pastor ended up getting into contact with the U.S. Marshal after they calmed him down. And they ended up getting him turned in to custody. And Donald Trump had a little conference about it, and he's pushing for the death penalty, rightfully so. But just dealing with the situation as it is a very saddening and disheartening thing that a man lost his life for trying to have civil discourse about his political views and his personal thoughts on things happening around the world. Now, I didn't necessarily agree with all the things that he said, especially with the black community and, the whole Israel-Palestine thing. There was always constant arguments over that. But I could understand that, these were his personal opinions and these were his personal beliefs. And you can't force somebody to believe a certain way. And knowing that, I have to respect it for how it is, and I have to respect it for the fact that he was not on the fence about these things. It was straight up, this is how I feel, this is what it is, this is how we should go about it. And you can appreciate that to a certain extent. But it seems there are a lot of people who did not appreciate that. And it really shows how much in our society people can hate someone who does not agree with their personal opinions. We constantly speak about how we have freedom of speech and we have the freedom to think the way we want to. Yet when things hit the wall, we see the true colors of humanity. And it's a really sad thing because this man that, maybe you didn't necessarily like, or maybe you did like, lost his life to somebody who couldn't control and wanted to enforce their own opinions on others. And now you have several people online, such as Amanda Sills, who are making light of the situation.
I can't have empathy for someone like Charlie Kirk. First of all, Charlie Kirk don't believe in empathy. He said it's a bad thing. He said it's some new age made up shit. He also said people got to be sacrificed in order to protect guns. If he was saying that while fighting for reparations, I may have a little bit of empathy. But this white on white violence, he died? Damn, B. Life comes at you fast. I can't have empathy for someone like Charlie Kirk because I cannot be in his shoes. I have no frame of reference for that. I have no cognizance for that. There literally is nothing about his existence that I can relate to. So I don't have any empathy because I have no connectivity. I have more connectivity to someone who is a complete stranger that dies of a drug overdose than I do to someone like Charlie Kirk, because life is hard.
The fact that a lot of people like her, people with influence, are letting people know online. I mean, if you speak this way, things are going to happen to you. Or, just making a mockery of the whole thing. And I've seen several other people, including peers and people I've gone to know in my life, speak disrespectfully of a man that just died. If you're not going to have compassion for him, have compassion for his family. That is the most important part of it. You got several videos online or several comments online about, oh, well, that's what he gets. And it's really sad. And I've seen something similar to this when, if you even know this man, Kevin Samuels had died. Kevin Samuels was an advocate for the Black community, trying to speak to Black men and women and trying to tackle the issues that our community faces and why we have so much destruction in our community. The destruction of men and women and the division. But with this situation, it's a division within our own country. Democrats and Republicans are liberals and conservatives. And I know a lot of people are saying that it's not necessarily a political thing. Yes, it is. Because if Kirk didn't hold the political beliefs that he had, he would have never been assassinated a few days ago. And yes, now they have this man in custody, and they will try giving him death penalty, which more than likely he will receive it, because this was an assassination attempt. Well, not even an attempt, just an assassination. But even with all that being said, this man still lost his life. And now his children will suffer for it, and his wife will suffer for it. His family in whole will suffer for it. And so it's a really sad thing that I see that when you have opinions or you don't agree with the masses, or you're a special one out, and you start trying to bring attention to things that need attention to be brought to, people will hate you for it. You will try spreading a positive message or try waking up people, try bringing them to reality. Maybe not everything they say you agree with, but some things you can recognize as truth, as fact, and recognize that there is some good. There's always a little bit of good that comes with the bad. You just need to be able to recognize what it is and be able to point out, this is what I can agree with, this is what I cannot agree with. But the most important thing is that it must remain civil, which is something I think a lot of people tend to forget that we need to do. Keeping things civil. And it's a sad thing that people are able to parade and clap when a man that has done them no harm dies, just like several men in the past. So I believe it will cause a lot of division in our society, and I believe there's already been some retaliation from the right trying to get certain people from the left fired for making light of the situation, making a joke and a mockery out of it. Now, depending on how bad things go and how we progress from here, we could have another civil war on our hands. And it won't be a North versus South situation, but a Democrat versus Republican type of situation. And it's a tough thing because if that does happen, it puts people who aren't necessarily strongly on either side in a perplexing situation where it's you choose this side or you choose this side. Me, myself, I don't think I'm necessarily a Republican or a Democrat. I may have like conservative beliefs, but I wouldn't say I'm just one or the other. Certainly wouldn't go as far as to say that I'm liberal, though. I have conservative beliefs. I believe in the nuclear family. I believe in men and women coming together and having children, and then those children having children. And the main point of that is so that we can teach the next generation to stay away from the mistakes that we made. And though that generation teaches the next generation what mistakes they made and how to stay away from it, so that we can constantly improve as a society. But choices like this cause us to regress instead of progress. And so for the people that made light of the situation, if you are possibly watching this video or anybody else's video that made something on this topic, I would ask that you look in the mirror and ask how much human compassion do you really have for anyone else if you're able to make fun of a man that lost his life and left a family behind. But with that, I'll go ahead and end the video. Leave your comments down below and your personal opinions about the whole Charlie Kirk situation and this Robinson guy who took him out at the university. The whole thing is just really sad. The university is supposed to be a place of safety. And now, with this assassination, this whole debating on college campuses thing probably won't happen again. And if it does, it'll be very tight security and done a different way. But thanks for watching, and make sure to stay blessed. And most of all, please stay safe.